Bible gives us pretty specific steps to take when we find that we're in conflict with each other. When we find ourselves disagreeing with others in the church. And conflict is going to happen, right? We know that. The question is, how do you deal with it? What do we do about it? And Jesus gives us some instructions here. Please go with me to the book of Matthew, the 18th chapter. Matthew chapter 18. Jesus gives us these instructions on how we can deal with conflict while walking in love. And I think that's the key, walking in love. So to think conflict's not going to happen is ridiculous. To think that it shouldn't happen is ridiculous, because we're all together and we're different and God made us like that. So of course conflict happens. It's going to happen. But we've been taught how to deal with it. And I think if we deal with this thing right, friends, we're going to actually be able to stay stronger. We're going to be unified and we're going to get the job done so Jesus can come back. We're going to have better relationships here on earth, which I think we've got to do. So Matthew 18, quickly verse 15. It says this. It says, if your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault, just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. But if they will not listen, take one or two others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. And if they refuse to listen even to the church, then treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And again, truly I tell you, that if 2 of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with them. Now I know that many people have taken just that last verse 20, and say, hey, that means where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, that's where he'll be. I don't believe that's the context in any sense of what he was saying. He's actually talking about agreement. And what Jesus is saying is, when 2 or 3 are gathered together in agreement, I'm with them. In other words, if you're not in agreement, I'm not with you. And that's why we've got to work our things out, friends. That's why this is such an essential truth. And this is why I think Jesus made it so plain and so clear on how to deal with these things. I know it can be heated. I understand it can be uncomfortable. I understand that it takes a whole lot of people involved to get this thing worked out. But it can be if we come back to Scripture and we realize there's some ways of approaching it.